Jai Shri Radhe Ji. Continuing with the Vartas of the 252 Vaishnava disciples of Sri Gosaiji. Today we are reading and continuing with Varta 242, Sagun Das. Padarag Virabal. The light of the Telanga family has appeared. Sri Lakshman Bhatt is delighted to see the face of his son, who has manifested from the womb of Mother Illamma like a pearl appearing from a shell. Sagun Das, the poet, now sings, his qualities are too many to tell. They are sung all over the 7 seas and the 9 continents. The gods and goddesses have climbed into their celestial cars to see the great celebration, bustling to be at the front. They all say that, apart from Sri Krishna, the upholder of the Sri Giriraj mountain, there is none who can equal him. Sagun Das, the poet, now sings of how the Munis bless him with their mantras, saying, let him always reign supreme. The 9 oceans have appeared in Sri Lakshman Bhatt's home. The 8 spiritual perfections are at his door, sweeping the ground, knowing him to be the Supreme Lord himself. All sorts of drums and pipes are playing. Even the 9 fortunes stand at the door. Sagun Das finds he cannot properly describe qualities of Shiva Vallabh, which are even sung by Lords Shiva and Brahma too. Bards are singing at the door where Shiva Vallabh, the Supreme Lord, has appeared, full of bliss and auspiciousness. Sri Lakshman Bhatt is giving away gifts of clothes and jewels to all. Sagun Das, the poet, says his hopes have all been fulfilled like a wish for rain by Indra's rainy month of Ashad. If Shiva Vallabh had not appeared, the Lord's pastimes would have become neglected and the earth devoid of life. Every single day new beauty manifests like a ruby in gold. Sagun Das, the poet, now sings, I wish to be a servant in this house, which is praised by the very Vedas and the Munis. Sagun Das sang many such poems. Sri Gosaiji was always pleased to hear them. Sagun Das always sang of Sri Vallabhacharya Ji, Sri Gosaiji and Sri Nathji as being one and the same. Bhav Prakash. The moral of this story is that the Vaishnavas should never regard Sri Vallabhacharya Ji, Sri Gosaiji and Sri Nathji as being in any way different from each other. Thus concludes Varta 242, the story of Sagun Das, the renunciate, who was the recipient of Sri Gosaiji's great grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. There is no end to his tale. Continuing now with Varta 243, the story of Dhondi. Sri Navneet Priyaji clapped when he sang his padas. Bhav Prakash. This is a devotee of Tamasi disposition. The eternal Leela, his name is Dhara. She manifests from Champak Lata and is thus a personification of her divine loving sentiment. He was born into a low-caste Muslim family in a village between Agra and Delhi. He was 10 years old when he began to keep company with a singer. Dhondi had a lovely singing voice and the singer kept Dhondi close to him. After some time, Dhondi became skilled in playing music and singing. He sang beautifully and was excellent in mridanga playing. When he reached 20, his parents died, and he came to Agra to stay. He sang for a living. One day, he came to Mahavan for some task and found some of his caste members who lived there. He stayed there for some time with them and then moved on to Gokul. Part 1. Dhondi belonged to a low caste. He came to Gokul and caught sight of Sri Gosaiji and Sri Thakurani Ghat. He had a vision of his divine form and decided that he would like to become Sri Gosaiji's disciple. He supplicated Sri Gosaiji, O Maharaj, please accept me into your shelter. Sri Gosaiji accepted him as a disciple and initiated him with the Lord's name. As soon as he heard the Lord's name from Sri Gosaiji's lips, he gained insight into all of the Lord's divine pastimes. With Sri Gosaiji's permission, he wrote this song, Rag Saranga. One loudly hot afternoon, my beloved came to me. I stood up respectfully to welcome him in that hot afternoon. He embraced me tightly to him, and the burning heat of our bodies erupted in glistening drops of sweat all over. My every pore feels joyfully content. Not a jot of love's desirous fever remains unsatisfied. Dhondi the poet now sings, I have met my clever Lord, and my clamouring pains of separation from him have all been stilled. Sri Gosaiji was overjoyed to hear this pad and knew that Dhondi was now experiencing the Lord's pastimes. He gave Dhondi the instruction to daily sing kirtan before Navneet Priyaji, and Dhondi did exactly that. Part 2. Once Sri Gosaiji was in Sri Nathji Dwar. At that time Dhondi sang one pad before Shri Navneet Priyaji. Shri Navneet Priyaji enjoyed it so much that he began to applaud Dondi's composition. Shri Gosaiji's eldest son, Shri Gurudaji, was standing there. He used to wear many gold bangles. He immediately removed them from his wrist and, offering them to Shri Navneet Priyaji, then put them into Dondi's hands. Shri Gosaiji then came back from Srinathji Dwara and heard what had happened. He was very pleased with Shri Gurudaji and told him that he could have rewarded Dondi even more generously. Prakash. Shri Navneet Priyaji was pleased. What more could anyone want? One could give up everything to him and it would still not be enough. Shri Gosaiji had great affection for Shri Navneet Priyaji. Thus concludes Varta 243, the story of Dondi, who was the recipient of Shri Gosaiji's great grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. He sang many, many songs about the Lord's pastimes. With Shri Gosaiji's grace, the Lord granted Dondi his direct experience. There is truly no end to his tale. Continuing now with Varta 244, the story of Chita Swami, a Chaube Brahmin. From Mathura, one of the Ashtachar poets, Bhav Prakash. In the eternal Leela, Chita Swami is Sri Thakurji's dear friend Subal Sakha. In the daytime he is Subal Sakha, but in the night he is Padma. Padma Sakhi is extremely attached to Sri Chandravali, and here on earth too Chita Swami is deeply, lovingly attached to Sri Gosaiji. Padma appears from Chandrabhaga and is thus a personification of her tamasi divine loving sentiment. Part 1. Chita Swami was a Chaube Brahmin from Mathura. Everybody addressed him as Chitu. There were 5 main Chaubes in Mathura, and Chita Swami was the most important of them all. He would always make fun of any lady that he saw. One day the 5 of them got together and thought, "Oh, brothers, in Gokul that Sri Gosaiji has some magic. Anyone who goes to see him falls under his sway, so come on, let's go to see him and his magic." The 5 of them were friends, but they were rascals. They got a fake rupee, took a hollow coconut and filled it with ashes and hid the coin inside it. They decided to go to Gokul to try to trick Sri Gosaiji. Then Chitu addressed the other thieves. "I will go there before all of you and see if I can trick him. You can go there after me." The other Chaubes all agreed. Chitu set up the trick. He tied the hollow coconut in a bundle and took the fake rupee with him. All 5 of them left Mathura and crossed over to Gokul in a boat. Chita Swami told them, "You lot all stay out here. Sit down. I am going to go inside and test his magic. You can come in after that." Chitu took the fake coin and the hollow coconut and went inside while the others waited outside. It was just before the Uttapan afternoon services. Sri Gosaiji had awoken from his nap and was sitting on the cushions in his betak. He was reading a book. Chita Swami arrived there. When he looked at Sri Gosaiji, he saw him as none different from Sri Krishna, the upholder of the Sri Giriraj mountain. Chita Swami felt ashamed. He thought to himself, "I came here to play a joke on Sri Gosaiji, but he is truly the Supreme Lord himself. Fie upon me who came to try to trick the Lord himself." He was thinking like this to himself. He hid the hollow coconut and prostrated before Sri Gosaiji. Sri Gosaiji addressed him. "How are you? Are you well? Come here. I haven't seen you for a long time." Chita Swami folded his hands in supplication. He spoke up. "Oh, Maharaj, I belong to you." He fell on the floor at Sri Gosaiji's feet like a log. Chita Swami again supplicated, "Oh Maharaj, please take me into your shelter. Please accept me as your disciple." Sri Gosaiji said, "But you are a Chaube Brahmin and worthy of my worship. You are already perfect, so why are you bowing before me? Why are you speaking like this?" Chita Swami again stood humbly before Sri Gosaiji, saying, "Oh Maharaj, please forgive my offences. Please take me as your disciple. I don't know what kind of offence has caused me to be known as a Swami. It is my great good fortune that I have seen you. Now, please take this title of Swami away from me. I only want you to be known as Swami. My mind was full of deceit alone. Through your mere sight, all that deceit has left me, and I surrender myself into your hands. Please do with me as you feel fit. You are the giver, the Lord of all, the master of the humble, and an ocean of compassion. What other Lord can an embodied soul ever need to see? Know me to be your own, O Maharaj, and please take me as your disciple." Sri Gosaiji is most compassionate, and he recognized the purity of Chita Swami's entreaties. He graced him by saying, "Oh Chita Swami, come forward." Chita Swami then prostrated again before Sri Gosaiji and then sat down in front of him. At that very moment, Sri Gosaiji initiated Chita Swami with the Lord's name. Chita Swami sang this pada. Rag Nat. "I have now come to recognize Shri Krishna, the upholder of the Sri Giriraj mountain. I came with the intent to deceive him, not knowing him to be the Supreme Lord. I have no idea about who was small and who was really great. Such was my ignorance." Now Chita Swami sings, "The moment he saw me, he made me his own. This Shri Vithalnachi is an ocean of grace." We will continue the wonderful story of Shri Chita Swami tomorrow. And Aj Ke Ananda Ki Jai. Sab Vaishnavan ko Saprem Sananda Sadar Sadenya. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Ji. Jai Shri Radhe.